Oh boy, here we go. Fernando Araujo, our artist/judo chop master, is having a bit of a midlife crisis. He's thinking, maybe painting and throwing people isn't my true calling. Because, we all question our life choices while teaching people how to not get thrown. One rainy night, because all good stories start in bad weather, Fernando's having a smoke. He finishes his cigarette and flicks it away. Whoosh! It's like a mini Olympic diver diving into a sewer near the Bank of Rio. Fernando, obviously a fan of exploring stinky places, gets curious and heads down the sewer. That's when a light bulb moment hits him. He is like, why don't I rob this bank and get rich? I'm sure this totally realistic plan will work out great. Next day, he's meeting his pal Sebastian, the civil engineer. Because when planning a bank heist, who else would you go to but a civil engineer? Fernando pitches his bank robbery idea like it's a Shark Tank episode. Sebastian, strapped for cash, is like, rob a bank? Sure, why not? But they need cars, tools, and, oh yeah, money. Because you can't rob a bank with just a can-do attitude. So, Fernando's off to find a rich friend. Enter DeBauza, who's as broke as McDonald's ice cream machine. DeBauza's like, I'm as poor as you, man, but hey, I know a guy. Classic DeBauza. Cut to Mario, the thief so smooth he could steal the cream from your coffee. He's in an office, stealing money, cool as a cucumber. Robbing offices, just a Tuesday for Mario. Finally, Fernando and Mario meet at a cafe. Fernando spills the beans about the heist. Mario's not interested until Fernando plays his trump card. Do this, and you're set for life. Because who wouldn't want to retire on sewer-planned bank robbery money, right? Fernando, our not-so-average artist turned wannabe millionaire, decides to go all DIY and drops a measuring tape down a manhole outside the bank. Because, who needs Google Maps when you have a sewer and a measuring tape? He then drags Mario, the thief extraordinaire, into the sewers because nothing says team building like sewer adventures. After some sewer math, Fernando triumphantly declares they're only 18 meters away from being filthy rich. Because obviously, all great fortunes start with a tape measure in a sewer. Cut to the next scene. Fernando, Mario, and DeBauza are in their super-secret heist meeting. They want to tunnel into the bank, but oops, motion sensors. But Fernando, being the MacGyver he is, says motion sensors are just big scaredy cats of temperature changes. So he's made a suit out of a sleeping bag to hide their body heat. Genius, right? Just hope they don't fall asleep on the job. Now, they hit a snag. None of them knows how to crack a bank vault. Minor detail. The next day, they're on a recon mission. Fernando snaps pictures of the bank's parking lot, because obviously, that's where all the secrets are hidden. Inside, Sebastian plays, let's pretend to open an account, while Fernando plays paparazzi in the hall. I'm sure these masterminds will execute their ingenious heist flawlessly, and not at all end up arrested and in jail where they belong. Security hauls Fernando to the basement for questioning. Little do they know, Fernando is actually loving this because he gets to eyeball the safe deposit room. Security checks everything, but Fernando's one step ahead. He's already stashed the memory card. Let's give him a Nobel Prize for cleverness. Back at home, Fernando and Sebastian, now part-time bank blueprint artists, use their snapshots and memories to sketch the bank's floor plan. Because who needs an actual blueprint when you have a good memory and a few grainy photos? Then Fernando, in a stroke of genius, decides to measure the distance to the bank using a bicycle. They're counting tire rotations like it's a new Olympic sport. Next up, Fernando whips out his geometry skills to calculate the digging angle for the tunnel. Pythagoras would be so proud. If only he knew it was for a bank heist. Plot twist. The money they're planning to steal is insured. So, in their minds, it's a victimless crime. Because, insurance makes everything better. That night, they all hop into the sewer for a little digging party. Because nothing says, fun night out, like tunneling through sewer sludge. The next day, enter Alberto, the getaway car guy. Because every heist needs a guy who's good at waiting in a car. Now, the gang faces their next big hurdle, cracking open 400 lockers. They think about using a blowtorch, but apparently, spending 7 hours melting metal isn't appealing. So, Fernando, always the thinker, suggests they rent a locker at another branch to study it, because practice makes perfect, especially in locker cracking. The next day, Mario, ever the diligent student, rents a safety deposit box at another branch. He's eyeballing that lock like it's the last piece of pizza. Then, in a scene straight out of a low-budget action movie, Mario and his sidekick steal a van for their getaway. They're parked outside Alberto's house, probably arguing over who gets to pick the heist playlist. So, there's Fernando and his heist buddy, chilling in their freshly stolen getaway van, when suddenly, the cops show up. Cue the panic. They're thinking, this is it, we're toast. But then, Alberto and his wife appear out of nowhere, like some kind of suburban cavalry, and they're like, oh, these guys? They're just our pals. Because nothing says normal, like hanging out near a bank with a stolen van. Meanwhile, back in the world's most ambitious DIY project, the crew's digging their way to fortune when they hit a snag. The drill breaks. Fernando's all chill, like, no probs, we'll just buy a new one. But Mario, who's already poured his piggy bank into this caper, is about as happy as a vegan at a steakhouse. Later, Fernando's with his girlfriend, doing a bit of stargazing. They're chatting about how stars are basically ancient history, and bam! Fernando has a brainwave. He dashes off to Mario's place faster than a kid chasing an ice cream truck. Fernando's like, hey, I've cracked it! He explains that the bank's as secure as a bear's den, whether it's open or closed, but they haven't thought of someone attacking it from both ends. His grand plan: walk into the bank during business hours when the vault's open, sidestepping all those pesky alarms. The idea is to make the cops think they're just after pocket change. It's like going to a buffet and only eating salad, totally unexpected. Fernando's convinced everyone will fall for them leaving through the front door. Because who would suspect a tunnel in this day and age? Oh boy, hearing Fernando's starry-eyed plan, Mario is over the moon. He's like a kid in a candy store if the candy was a risky bank heist plan. Cut to the heist day and everyone's playing arts and crafts with glue on their fingers to hide their fingerprints. Sebastian gets the glamorous job of being dropped in the sewer. Talk about getting the short end of the stick. Meanwhile, Fernando and the gang stroll into the bank in disguise, probably looking like they're off to a very serious costume party. As soon as they're in, it's showtime. Mario and Dabauza head upstairs, while Fernando and Alberto cover the ground floor. It's like they're splitting up for a scavenger hunt, but with more guns and less fun. They whip out their weapons and everyone hits the deck. Somewhere in a CCTV room, a security guard's probably thinking, not on my watch, and hits the police speed dial. Plot twist. Fernando's got his walkie-talkie tuned into the security's frequency. It's like he's listening to the world's most stressful radio station. Mario's playing cashier, ordering the actual cashier to stuff money in a bag. Meanwhile, Alberto's on parking gate duty because someone has to think about where they parked. Cue the police, arriving fashionably late. Fernando, in a moment of pure drama, grabs a civilian. Don't come in, or the civilian gets it, he says. Probably feeling like he's in an episode of Money Heist. Back inside, Fernando's like, Phase 1, done. Mario's getting in on the action too, grabbing a woman and ordering the CCTV security guard to come out with his hands up. The guard's probably regretting his career choices right about now. After liberating the guard of his gun's magazine and phone, Mario kindly shows him the door. Then, it's lights, camera, no action. They disable all the cameras. Fernando finds a small room and moves a cabinet. Because what's a heist without a little interior decorating? So, Sebastian, the tunneling wizard, finally breaks through the wall. It's like the Shawshank Redemption, but with less Morgan Freeman and more breaking and entering. The dynamic duo then casually strolls to their car, probably parked legally, of course, to grab their DIY heist kit. They head to the vault, ready to assemble what's basically a cannon power machine. Because why use a key when you can blast things open in 7 seconds? Flashback time. We learn that Sebastian's been moonlighting as a cannon maker. Cut to everyone synchronizing their watches like they're about to start a race instead of a robbery. Sebastian and Fernando begin their locker-cracking marathon, while outside, it's a regular block party with police, media, and anxious relatives. The police captain's chatting with the security guard, probably exchanging notes on how their day's going. Spoiler, not great. Meanwhile, our locker-looting heroes hear the cops on the roof. It's like Santa's arrival, but less jolly and more SWAT team. Then, the captain calls on the guard's phone, which Mario cleverly snagged earlier. Flashback. Fernando, the man with a plan for everything, taught Mario the fine art of negotiation. Back to the present. Mario's on the phone, laying down the law. He's like, get off the roof, or the hostages get it. The captain plays along, but sneakily sends 2 snipers to the next building. Mario then demands to chat with the district attorney because why not aim high? The captain's like, sure, you can have an hour. Time, apparently, is negotiable. In the meantime, Fernando and Sebastian are racking up lockers like they're on a shopping spree. Cash, gold, jewels. It's like a pirate's dream come true. Outside, the police are playing detective, trying to figure out the bank layout. They've got two entry options, the main gate and the parking lot. It's like choosing between a rock and a hard place, but with more sirens. The cops also realize they have no clue where the hostages are. They're treating this whole thing like an amateur robbery attempt. Then the captain, who's now doubling as a negotiator, calls Mario. He's like, "Hey, just give up. It's not too late for a slap on the wrist." He's even offering to find Mario a lawyer. How thoughtful. Mario, in true Heist leader style, plays it cool. "Let me chat with my crew," he says. Meanwhile, Fernando and Sebastian are having a locker opening marathon inside. Just as the tension's building up, an old lady's phone rings. Plot twist. It's her birthday. Mario, ever the gentleman, wishes her a happy birthday, while Debauza, in a moment of sweetness, grabs some chocolate from another hostage to give her. It's like a birthday party, but with more guns and less cake. The snipers, watching this unfold, are probably thinking they've tuned into the weirdest reality show ever. They report back to the captain, who's definitely not expecting a birthday celebration in the middle of a heist. Mario, getting into the festive spirit, frees the birthday girl. Then, leaning casually against a window, he tells the captain about his 15 years in prison and how he's only giving up if the DA promises him a light sentence. Talk about being picky with your jail time. The captain, probably sweating buckets, tells the sniper to chill. Mario, realizing he's not getting shot today, moves away from the window. Soon, the DA rolls up, ready to chat with Mario. It's like a high-stakes episode of Law & Order. Mario, in a move that's definitely going to win him Negotiator of the Year, decides the best way to talk to the DA is by hurling insults. Because nothing says "I'm innocent" like a good old-fashioned temper tantrum. When asked for his lawyer's number, Mario, the master of improvisation, gives them a hostage's number. It's like, who needs Saul Goodman when you've got hostage number 3? Then he pulls off his best lawyer impression on the phone, buying time for his pals. It's like a badly scripted courtroom drama, but with higher stakes. Meanwhile, Mario's herding all the hostages to the first floor, probably thinking, "Move along, nothing to see here, just a regular day at the bank." Down in the tunnel, Fernando and the crew are playing Santa Claus in reverse, hauling their loot. Mario then dramatically turns off his phone, leaving the captain wondering if this is all just a big joke. And then, light bulb moment for the captain. Hey, maybe they're using the sewers. After loading their treasure onto boats, Fernando decides to leave the weapons behind. Surprise! They're just kids' toys. It's like, "Sorry, officer, we can't come out to play cops and robbers right now." Mario then abandons the hostages and joins Fernando. As soon as he's out of sight, the hostages are on their phones faster than teens on TikTok. "Hi, Mom. Can't talk. Just being held hostage at the bank." "Yes, I'll be home for dinner." The captain sends one team into the sewer and another into the bank. Fernando and Mario clean up their tracks faster than a cat covering up, well, you know? Another flashback. Fernando had already figured the cops might catch on to their sewer shenanigans. Because, of course, he did. And off they sail into the sunset, like pirates of the urban seas, leaving the police wondering if they just got outsmarted by a bunch of toy gun-wielding, sewer-sailing, fake lawyer impersonating bank robbers. So, in a move that would make MacGyver proud, our thieves built a dam to raise the water level. Why? So they could make their grand escape in a motorboat, obviously. Because nothing says sneaky getaway like creating your own waterway. It's like they're auditioning for Ocean's 11, the aquatic version. Cut to the captain, who's probably feeling like Sherlock Holmes finally reaching the small room in the tunnel. He finds a bomb blocking the entrance, but plot twist. It's as fake as a politician's promise. The captain's just standing there like, did I seriously just get duped by a fake bomb? By this time, our clever thieves have already vamoosed. They're in their getaway vehicle, ditching their gear like it's a hot potato. Next stop, Alberto's house for a good old loot-dividing shindig. Because nothing says successful heist, like splitting the spoils, while probably arguing over who gets the biggest diamond. Fast forward several months, and everyone's living their best life. That is, until Alberto's wife catches him cheating. She's so mad she doesn't just throw his clothes out the window. She reports him to the police. One by one, the dominoes fall, and all our not-so-brilliant thieves get arrested. Flash forward 7 months, and Fernando's getting out of prison. Mario's there to pick him up in a luxury car, probably blasting "We Are the Champions." Turns out, Fernando's a planning genius. He used toy weapons on purpose so they'd get lighter sentences. The best part? They still kept most of their loot because the bank was about as good at record keeping as a toddler is at advanced calculus. The police only recovered a fraction of the stolen goods. The bank's like, we had $25 million in there maybe. And the police are like, we found 1.17 million and some shiny things. Because there were no records, the police couldn't build a strong case. So our merry band of thieves basically got a slap on the wrist, a don't do it again, and a wave goodbye. It's like the legal version of finders keepers, losers weepers.